Hey everyone, and welcome back. I am shooting this because, much like a lot of things that we do in electronic resources management, cataloging and authority control work is actually invisible. But I want to showcase this because this is probably one of my favorite things to do now that I don't directly catalog all that much anymore. But I do a lot of authority control because, as you can see here, we had a very enthusiastic former colleague at the art library who did a great job indexing all of the artists inside, for example, exhibition catalogs and various things. Their fattest record, I should go count the names because I feel like it's at least over 100, is like 3 decades in American printmaking, and that thing is just huge and takes like minutes to load the actual record. But what this person did when she was indexing these was putting them in as names in direct order. And when I got a hold of the catalog, I'm like, this is not going to work because she had them in there as Library of Congress. So when we migrated over to our new system, I changed them all into 653s. And then every time our authority control software flags the record for a 700 that needs to be updated, and I see a giant pile of 653s that are artist names, I get super excited because then I can put on a video or an audiobook and kind of zone out and do what I'm going to show you now, which, like I said, is probably one of my favorite things to do. It's also that kind of soothing because when I was dealing with a lot of drama and was feeling like not wanting to be here anymore in my untenured status, this was one of the few things that we didn't have to like argue over whether or not it was my job. It was like, no, nobody else wants to do authority control. Um, in reality, this probably should be a special project to go through. But we also had that pandemic, so I spent a lot of time during the pandemic cleaning up stuff like this, but also our subject headings in general, because we didn't do authority control for like 10 years. It was just one of those, like, the nuke system will do it. Anyway, this is not exactly matching or saying anything, so we'll just keep on moving. And back this. Do 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 do. We change this to a Library of Congress one, and then we go and see if the person's in there. And they usually are. Wonderland. Lives and works. Okay, art index. Yeah, art. Looking for artists. Yeah, I don't know if I got the best filler talk. That's the only downside. But we don't have a ton to do either, so I'll just fill it up with whatever's around the inside of my brain. Which admittedly is not all that much right now. Artists, yay! So we'll also find. Let's see how common this person is. I don't have common names. No, I don't, because I have to look things up on Google after like looking up artists. Sometimes looking up and seeing the art is pretty interesting. So is this Renee? The right Renee? Artist, yay! Nice. Back this on. Back it out, back it out, back it all out. Photographs, yep. That's an artist. Hiroshi. As you can see, we're down the T's already. This is the sort of exciting nitty-gritty stuff, like I said, I like to do. Because then we make things discoverable, and isn't that nice? The only downside is, at least in this particular case, because we have two libraries catalogs with specific OCLC catalog codes in there for the locations. A lot of this work, unfortunately, isn't going to get picked up by the main OCLC catalog because I have them screen out the art library's records because we don't want them to accidentally have their holdings claimed as our holdings, even though we're supposed to be more of one library at the moment. But we still are going to maintain the two codes, which is fine by me because their stuff is very different. We just gotta figure out how to ship things between us now that we're a tighter unit, I guess. Yeah. That's works in Los Angeles. Okay, I guess we'll. I think it's knots plus surfaces. Oh, one person exhibition. Okay, yeah, that's an artist. Do 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 do. Again. Yeah. Helps if I could type. Helped if I could type. I who the do you would help if I could type. Let's see. Oh, I noticed that the exciting listserv is down in terms of people talking, so maybe all of our European friends are on vacation. Good for them. Alright, let's see if we can spell this. R-I-R-K-R-I-T. R-I-R-K-R-I-T. Back it up again. Don't worry, eventually I'll bump into one where we have to look something up. And it'll be as exciting as it sounds. In this case, I probably would just take it off the name, but it doesn't hurt to open it up. Lives works in New York. Da 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 da. Installation artist. Thank you. Let's see if we can come in here. Names of names. Hey, public art and public spaces, and there was only one of them. Isn't that nice? Isn't it convenient? Sure, we'll hit another name where I'm like, that's gonna be a unique person, and it's not, because authority control is fun like that. Yeah, I know. I'm a dork. I don't care. Times, New York Times series. Okay. Illustration, public archival ink drip root, gouache and collage and printed watercolor. Okay. So he made something. He made something artsy. Alright, M-A-C-I-E-J. And we're in the wobbles. We're almost to the end. Before someone asked me, yes, these do take a long time to create, but one of the reasons why I'm preserving them is half of the work is already done for me, and even though this is a unique looking name, we'll change this off Library of Congress subject heading just so it being authority control software in here that flags things knows not to flag it for that. I do this a lot with their records. If you're one of my coworkers watching, it does index the same inside our search software. It's just one of those where you're like, I don't want to keep flagging over and over again because there's a lot of smaller artists in your records that are indexed in there but aren't necessarily in the Library of Congress. So I don't want to check for them all the time. But if somebody else with a 0 gets flagged, then a lot of the times I'll undo the ones with the 4s and check for them and see if they got updated or added to the Library of Congress. Because a lot of times, if you're smaller and you get a following, then they'll add you, but it also helps prevent me from getting them flagged if you have a common name, and it lets me know that, like, oh yeah, you've looked at that before. That person with the really common name, you've already tried to figure out from the 6+ entities that are, inside the software that this isn't the right person. So anytime it says work selections, that's key to that's an artist. Do 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 do. A little shortcut on that, and as you can see, we're almost to the end. So as non-component, this video probably was. Alright, Eden, Vella's Dance of Darkness, producer. Okay. Hey. Back it out, 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 back it out. Oh, princess with the people. And in case you were wondering, ask art. Yes, I am cheating by not looking at the people that got work selections. Alright, here's a nice one. I think. I'll show you what we do. Well, we can't figure out who it is, or we get a real list back, but we'll see. Sometimes I'm not that lucky. Chessmates. Oh, look at all that. Look at all those people. Okay. So you might not necessarily be able to see the top part where it actually says the query, but we're gonna put in the artist name, so Fred Wilson, and above this AI mode says new art, because that's the name of the book and birth date. So sorry that that's cut off from your screen. Just trying not to show all of my underwear out in the wide world here with our system. So born in 1954, da 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 da. So okay, sure. Let's see if we can find a Fred Wilson from 1954. There's one. You the artist we were looking for? Yep, sure. Okay. And if he falls right in line, birth date wise, with the rest of the people, yeah, they're all born like the 50s or 60s, so that makes sense. Okay, cool. So that's how we do that. I know. Super exciting. Sometimes we even have to ask the AI, because the regular Google searches Not happening, but that's pretty rare. Hopefully you're able to hear all this, because I just realized I've been muttering kind of low to myself. Painters, painters, painters count. Alright. These are the people that caused the record to get flagged in the first place. And it was a 700 check, which is what the rest of these are over here. These are all corrections for 700 fields. And not 653s, because I don't have a separate list. I've been just chewing on these as they come up. So, work selections. Artists, sculptors. Cool. Alright. We're going to control alt release and see if it saves. And it's going to take a minute or so to do that, so I'll just stop the video. Thanks for hanging out for 11 minutes while I finish that up. And hopefully this taught you something about what catalogers are still doing, even with AI hanging out.